Hello everybody, my name is Alckemy. Welcome to the channel. Today I've got not one but two demos for you for my latest and greatest sample pack release called Abyss. Now it's got over 900 samples, it's got tons of kicks and loops and stuff, basses and all that from a lot of the songs that I've made, and I kind of just want to show you what I've done. One, on the Digitakt 2, because this was part of the reason why I made this, and two, I want to show you the project that I have in Bitwig. Now obviously the Digitakt is not going to sound as good as the Bitwig version, but just so you know, I've got a fuse compressor and newfangled saturate on the track on this. So, you know, if you're like, oh, how'd you get it to sound so fat? That's what we have. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a listen to the first demo, then I'll quickly talk about it, then we'll talk about the second demo, and then I'll leave you off with some of the sounds that we have going in here. And I'll talk about the overall philosophy about what it is that I'm trying to do here. Cool. So lots of cool stuff that's happening in the back. I actually want to run through this quickly about how I set this up, because if you do it this way, then you can actually set up a really nice side chaining thing. But long story short, if we open up the bank, sorry, I'm trying to like talk because this is far away. You can see that on bank A, I've got all of my kicks and snares on this. Then bank B is empty, bank C, bank D is pads, bank E should be basses and subs. So this is just low end stuff, which I've included a bunch of them. Then nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. And this is relatively simple. Bank B, we've got our percussion and loops. So the reason why I have it set up like this, which most importantly is this, where bank A has both the kicks and snares, is because what I like to do is have triggers on here where sometimes I'm triggering a kick and sometimes I'm triggering a snare. And the reason why I'm doing that, not to make this a tutorial or anything, is because of the sidechain. When you do this with the send effects, you only have the ability to send one track into a sidechain trigger as far as I know. So if you have both your kick and snare on track one, then you can make that trigger that, which is, yeah. So anyways, on track one, we've got both kicks and snares. So let me show you what that looks like real fast. And I do like that if I hit the source, you'll see that this will turn. So, well, at least I thought it would. So we got that. Then track two has this stuff. Which is two different loops, or I guess the same loop but in two different spots. Oh yeah, two different loops. Dude, parameter locks and sample locking is awesome. So on this one we have a sub, which I'm not actually using this one, so that's just kind of something that's going through a bit crushing, but I didn't actually like that, so we're not using that. This is our sub. We've got a couple of different subs here. On that last step, or the middle step here, we've got a filter movement that's going on with this. Sorry, wrong one. There we go. That's making that do that acid sound, which is really cool. Now, the next thing that we have is this guy, which is just a drone. This is just another loop, another clap layer, another loop layer, another clap layer. This is our shaker right here. This is a clap layer, As you can tell, I like claps, and we've set that way early. which is using the comb filter to create a shaker, as you can hear. And then this actually isn't being used. So anyways, I wanted to show you this first because this is kind of a cool thing that you can utilize for throwing samples into the Digitakt and repurposing them for unintended ideas or whatever. But now what I would like to talk about, let me just make sure that this is good, okay, is the second demo that we have, which I'll quickly run through. And this one is going to be a lot louder, so beware. Ready? Actually, let me mute this guy first, and let's take a listen to this Neurohop track that I made. Yeah, so there's only one track on here that is not from the sample pack, and that's this loop 9. I think I accidentally just typed in loop as opposed to Alckemy loop, and then that's what came up, but whatever. I will live with it. And to be honest, it's nothing special. It's just this. So there's a billion of these Alckemy loops in here that you can utilize for this that should serve this purpose more than adequately. So for the rest of the stuff, you can see here that I've got kick 81, claps and snares 132. I don't have anything going on with these. This is vanilla other than a time shift, which is just pushing this a little bit early. And then everything else here, you can see that it's just kind of cut up and repurposed for the sake of creating a vibe. And it's kind of where most of the energy comes from on this, by the way. There is some chorus and some, what's it called, clipping, but for the most part, everything on here, this is kind of the energy of the track. Yeah, cool. So there are some cool tricks that I've done with some of the tracks here. So for example, this one has a vocoder on it, and this is what I use if my percussion doesn't have white noise. It's something that I recently started doing, but what I like to do personally is throw a vocoder on this and then utilize this for a convolution reverb that has a hat over it, because what ends up happening without this is this, but with it. See how it's a little bit more noisy and a little bit more metallic? So that's a cheat code that I was saving for the drum masterclass, but there you go. Yeah, now it's yours. Use it. The only other thing that I'm doing as far as like cool tricks is on this bass, I am automating an EQ right here. That's just kind of pushing up this mids. So that boing, that's really about it. And then on this particular hit right here, this is my favorite sound in this. Wait, here it is. I am utilizing that. So, which I'm combining a comb filter and flanger along with a fuse compressor and then pulling out the low end so it stays intact. But in context, it sounds pretty cool because if you're curious what sound this is, Alckemy bass 44, 217, 58. Yeah, so for the most part, this is mostly just a few different basses that I selected. For the most part, they're in F, but as you can see, I've taken some parts from it, just little things like this. And this adds a lot of character to kind of help bridge the gap if your basses or whatever are kind of sounding a little bit thin or a little bit empty. Overall, I am not distorting this, but there is some EQ like we talked about, and then some reverb on the high end with some fuse compression, which is just OTT. No matter how much OTT you have, when it comes to putting it in a track, you always need more. It's just the way of the world. So other than that, we've got some pads here. This pad is kind of metallic, and it sounds like this. And without all of the stuff, this is pad 31C, I think, C sharp, 32 C sharp, and it sounds like this. Which, it sounds cool on its own, but I'm really liking these metallic textures lately, and really it's comb filter and short delays is kind of the key to it, as you can see. And it kind of creates that nice little, you know, which I've used in a couple of places, not only there, but also here. This is the same sound, just a different part. And I've pitched it up kind of like that just to create, you know, a very simple melody, which, you know, is very classic for this genre of just da, da. it's been used time and time again, but hey, it works. So what can you say? With this, I've got a pitch shifter that's down -12, so that way it's giving it a little bit more weight on the mids. There's a Haas effect, OTT. I'm not actually using this ROM, so don't worry about that. And then some reverb over here. So the reason why I wanted to explain all this to you is, for one, there's not really a lot going on here, but it sounds like there's a lot going on. But the big thing is that this is mostly pulled from my sample pack. And what I'm hoping people get out of this is not like drag and drop ready to go. It's more so of a means of using as a jump off point to get some inspiration to mangle the audio like I do. All of these drums that I've made, especially stuff like this was from, oh my gosh, what was that song? Dum 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 dum. Fafo. Fuck around and find out. Yeah, so stuff like that with that, you can kind of hear that I've utilized most of these loops and stuff within tracks that I've already kind of made. So this right here, that right here. Yeah, so not the bass, but this, if you listen to it, which this is Alckemy Perk Loop 79, which that's 97, which is very similar actually. Yeah, so these are stuff that you can repurpose for lots of different things. You know, for example, if I'm adding some like high energy on this loop for the drums to kind of reinforce that. So and then it's kind of being like pushed under because it's under a really heavy sidechain, but still it adds a little bit more weight to things. And so even with these loops and all the other stuff that I'm using, you know, even if this is a pad that you don't necessarily like, because this isn't necessarily my favorite thing, but if we listen to this, it's kind of cool actually. Not for this vibe, but you know, you can make it into that vibe if you're crafty enough. And I kind of hope that people are encouraged to explore with this kind of stuff, because it's not really like your typical sample pack. I don't want my sounds to be super recognizable. I definitely want somebody to be like, yo, that's an Alckemy track, but I don't want people to be like, yo, this is totally like Trap Snare 7 or, you know, Cymatics sample pack or Vengeance, heaven forbid. This is something that I want people to kind of explore with and find new ways to create new sounds out of something that already sounds relatively decent, at least in my opinion. This is as good as I can be, I guess. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about some of these sounds. So we've got like over 300 basses, and this is not including the subs that I have, which they're all tuned to C, by the way. So, but as you can see, these are just like bass chops. Nice. Lots of neuro stuff. We've got lots of big drums here, which is just like some big drum loops. Some of them are relatively clean. Some of them are breaks, actually. Some of them are just random stuff that I've resampled. Nice. This is going to like go way off into the deep zone on here in a second, but that's kind of just like a quick kit. This is actually from the Digitakt. It's relatively mild. Oh yeah. Yeah, lots of cool stuff there. So we've got tons of claps and snares. So I don't know how many is on here, but yeah, 240 plus. Lots of different sounds. Lots of kicks. Lots of different music. lots of different pads, which one disclaimer is that I use ARCANUM to try to group all this stuff and label this for me, and it did a half decent job. So if this is like, I wouldn't put your money on the indicators of what these are. This is just a guesstimate of what ARCANUM thinks it is. So apologies for that. It would have been impossible to go back and like really go through every single sample and be like, oh, that's what this is supposed to be. Also, I think that Bitwig just froze. Nice. Oh, it caught up. So yeah, lots of pads. Then we have a bunch of perks and loops, over 100, and this is just random percussion stuff that I use to build tracks like this. So a lot of this stuff I made in Life. But what I like about this is that they all have a very different texture. Cool. Then we've got a bunch of subs. So all of these are tuned to C. They're designed to be thrown into a sampler. So and with that, you have pretty much everything you need to build a track. Now, is it going to be super crazy chord progressions? No, but you all know that my music doesn't really have a lot of that. It's not to say that I can, it's just not what I prefer, but I'm hoping that you guys really get a lot of bang for your buck for 20 bucks, over 900 samples. Yeah, I figured that because there's so many samples and because of the quote-unquote lack of professional organization or something, just to be 100% transparent, 20 bucks seems like a fair price for me. And also, you know, these haven't been like curated by thousands of people. This is just one single person, myself, that put a lot of hard work into this. So if you think that this is worth it, I would definitely love if you checked it out. Also on my website, if you're interested in like how I even like go about making this stuff, I have presets available. I have masterclasses available for ARCANUM members, and whatever you want to learn, you guys. I really don't like hide anything, just because some amazing people have taught me, and I think that it's important to share. This is just what I do for a living, so support the establishment. And even if not, just liking the video or telling me that this sounds cool can also be super helpful. And if you do cop this pack or any other pack, I have a review place on my website that I wanted to show you right now at alckemy.com. If you're on mobile, it's a little bit difficult to find. I'm working on it. But if you go to the store at alckemy.com here, maybe, which there will be a link in the description and also the comment sections. But if you go to the store, at the very bottom, there is this little thing right here that says add a message. And right now I don't have any messages, but I would absolutely love if you could leave a unbiased review. I would never expect you to, you know, just support me and say good things just for the heck of it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. I'm trying to make sure that I'm providing a high amount of value to what I put out for sale because I'm putting it out for sale. And I'm very grateful that you all choose me to get your sounds from. So with that being said, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Hope that you enjoyed the demo. And yeah, I don't really have anything else. I will see you all on stream on Monday, which is tomorrow. Bye, everybody. I will see you later.